Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny Robertson, founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman Magazine. I'm here to share the speaker portion of our Connections Over Coffee gathering of the On Purpose Woman Global Community. Belinda Todd is leading a discussion with some of the authors of a new anthology of essays called On Womanhood, Connecting and Thriving Through Every Season. And you can see the link to that book on Amazon in the text of this live. Belinda is a minister, author, and speaker who lives in Petersburg, Virginia. She has written for On Purpose Woman Magazine and enjoys the fellowship of On Purpose Women. Belinda advises women of the words of Maya Angelou. There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you. Thank you, ladies, for being here. I'm looking forward to what you have to share with us today. Belinda, you're on.
Well, thank you. First of all, I just want to acknowledge each of you as being phenomenal women. And you're all on purpose women. So give yourselves a shout out. Yes, 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 yes. I have to first of all acknowledge, or next, I want to acknowledge the founder of Focus Writers Membership Community, Stacy Hawkins Adams. Stacy was a writer for the Richmond Times-Dispatch newspaper. She is author of several novels, including a bestseller, The Someday List. Other of her novels are Worth 1,000 Words. She has a series, Watercolored Pearls, and Dreams That Won't Let Go. She has one nonfiction that I can think of, and that's Abound, Principles for Next Level Living. And Stacy is, and as I began to prepare for our talk today, what I thought about was how incredible Stacy is, because she has taken her time to help others, other writers. And she is, I have to just tell you, she is smart, she is kind, she is loving, and she is quite a mentor to us. And so through her, I met Margot. I knew Rita and Jacqueline, so I invited them, I believe, and then I met Danica through Stacy. And in 2021, we had this small idea that we could write a book. Now, I have to tell you, Jacqueline is a published writer. Danica is a published writer, and Margot is also a published writer. Rita and I, we can write, and we're wannabes. Rita and I are speakers. We had, for about almost 10 years, we did a talk show on cable, on a local cable network in Richmond, Virginia. And yes, and it was a lot of fun. But this effort showed me several things. It showed me what, well, first of all, that small idea, how, because sometimes we get an idea and it's a small idea, but then we allow it to become overwhelming in our lives and we don't do anything about it. So we actually moved step by step by step, and Stacy was able to navigate those steps for us. We had an idea, and then in the beginning of the first part of 2021, we began to each write our essays. And then we did everything in community in a supportive group. We chose the cover of the book, and if you can see it, there is a little butterfly somewhere in here, and the butterfly kind of represents Danica's book, which was a metamorphosis. So I want to introduce you to these ladies, and let me just tell you a little bit more about them. I told you, you guys know Rita already. She's an energetic, inspirational, award-winning speaker, and her highly rated presentations blend enthusiasm, humor, and powerful motivational stories to deliver a life-changing message. Rita and I were part of an original Toastmasters group. Rita's dream and goal was always to be the top award winner through Toastmasters. But y'all, I really think having a TED Talk is a lot better. So that's Rita Moore. The next person is Margot Clifford. She's a crusader for children's rights and empowering young minds to think, create, and to believe in themselves. As an educator for more than 40 years, she witnessed the amazing resilience that children have to overcome obstacles, and she seeks to infuse those truths in her writings about young adults. Jackie Hunter. Jackie's a retired educator from Richmond, Virginia, presently living in Las Vegas. She's a science fiction author. Her book is Lost in the Red Hills of Mars, and I think she has a second that's just about to come out. In our anthology, she has an essay, Keep Getting Better. So as she talks about doing those things that help us to age well. Danica Nedlit Robinson as the author of The Metaphoric Journey, a novella that explores three teenage mothers' quest to succeed. This fictional work is based on her experiences of becoming a teen mom, first-generation college student, and ultimately the recipient of multiple academic degrees, including a master and a doctorate. I mean, I applaud her. She's just an awesome woman, and she works at, she's now at Virginia Commonwealth University. So, and you guys know me, so that's who we are. So the first thing I want to do, I'm going to start with you, Margot, because I'm, as I kind of see you on my screen, I'm going to ask you, what was your experience like and a takeaway from us writing this anthology?
I would have to say that it was a masterclass in writing a book, basically. And it took us through step by step. And the essay part alone, deciding what to write, we were given a topic of writing about womanhood, the seasons. And once I narrowed that down to what I was going to write and then write it, it was edited. It was read by 3 different people in the group. Belinda, I believe you were one of them, right? And one of the editors, Wanda, who's got a background in journalism and has written several books. She was my editor, my line by line editor. And that was one of the best experiences I've had in terms of my writing and getting the feedback. I learned so much by going through this process, from the nuts and bolts of writing to how to publish a book in terms of being self-published. We self-published the book, and that in itself was an eye-opener of the kinds of things in terms of getting the library number and figuring out how many copies we were going to have and how long that would take and who the different website places were that would print the book, and then the e-reader part of it. So it was a great process. I'd have to say that I learned a lot.
Thank you so much. And Margot, what's the name of your book?
My book is called Parking Space 22. It's about 2 brothers that become homeless.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Jacqueline.
Okay, I'm in now. Hi, everybody. It was a great experience for me. And it was great because I love being a part of the group of intelligent and creative women who have made so many, have had so many great accomplishments. And I learned a lot about marketing, the idea of doing pre-orders. I hadn't realized that that could be a part of what I do to help promote my book even more. And when we released the book, it was released as the #1 new book in its genre. And I was just really excited that we could accomplish that. And it all happened because there was so much pre-planning. Everything was so well organized by Stacy. And I'm just really happy that I had this opportunity.
Thank you, Jacqueline. Miss Rita.
Well, my response is really the same as both Jackie and Margot. Just the experience of going step by step. I actually have a manual. I call it a manual. I don't know what the other ladies call it, but if I decide I want to publish my own book in the future, I have step by step instructions where I would go, how I would do it, and I think that's a blessing in itself. I have something that I can work from. In addition, as I was going through the writing process, having a coach, I know that's not what she considers herself, but Wanda was able to actually explain to me why certain things didn't work together. Explain to me how I should say it, and was able to actually clarify what I was feeling as I was putting together the book. So it's a better explanation as to how to catch someone's attention, how to get a listener or a reader to actually feel something and get something out of what you've written. You're not just writing for yourself. It starts out as your feelings, your understanding, your thoughts. But I was actually taught how to make it so that you want to read more. And this was a lesson. I have a manual. I did a great job. I learned something from my own chapter. My chapter was on choices. And it's because I've learned throughout the years that if you don't really stop and think and have your own decision-making process, things might not go well. But I'm able to share that in a way where people now know they need to have their own process. They need to sit down and think. Don't jump out and just do things. So what I got out of this was that I really feel like if I wanted to, I can teach someone else how to do what I just did.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Rita. And last but not least, Danica. Now, Danica, let me say this. Danica was our money person because we all contributed equally. We all had a say-so in every step of the process, but Danica did handle the finances and kept us informed of how the spending went.
Thanks, Belinda, and thanks again for having us here, Jenny. So delighted to be amongst some accomplished women for sure. The process for doing on Womanhood was therapeutic in a lot of ways because for me personally, I learned that my writing style is that of journaling. I journal and have journaled for a number of years. And at one point when I started writing, not just this essay, but writing in general, I thought I could just sit at a computer and type out what I'm thinking. And I was honest with myself and said, that's not how you write. Journal out the story. And so it allowed me to really go back to my childhood and the experience of desiring to be a teacher, teaching my teddy bears. You got to get the book to learn more about that. But anyway, knowing that I am a teacher at heart through and through. But the other fantastic piece was seeing the evolution. I mentioned this in one of our breakout sessions. I just love seeing everybody else's metamorphosis as well. So seeing the evolution of everybody's essay from the caterpillar ugly phases to the beautiful butterfly that has now represented on the pages that you see. But the other fantastic thing that we were able to do is work with a local artist who is a part of our group. And Rita, if you can hold the book up once again. We had a local artist who drew those beautiful flowers and the butterfly on there. And we looked at different iterations of the artwork. And so when I think about the finished product, being one of the editors, of course, and also being the formatter of this particular book, when I look at it, it's a masterpiece. It's artwork, and I think a lot of times people may take for granted the effort that goes into producing something that you want somebody to enjoy reading, but it's artwork. It's no different than Picasso or whoever else is actually drawing on the page. We are actually being artists by the words that we speak. We were intentional about making sure that you could see the story, you could be a part of the story, and not simply just reading words on a page.
I have to tell you, I was Danica, Wanda Lloyd, who is from South Carolina, and we did our first editing of the book. And that saved us money because then we caught the majority of things, little errors or things that needed to be tweaked, and then we took it to another editor. But here, and I have a background as an English teacher and a teacher of writing to freshman composition. But one of the things that I had to be forefront of the project was to know that the piece needs, every piece you write needs a takeaway. A few universal truths to ground the story that you're telling so that it appeals to a wide audience. And that's, so find something that other women will care about. Now, I want to also, Maya Zachary, I don't know if y'all know this about Maya or not, but Maya is the author of probably be about 15 Harlequin romance stories. Now, her book, The Messenger of 8 Keys, I mean, that's serious, heavy, deep stuff, but Maya is also a published writer, as well as is Imaja. Imaja has 2 books of poetry out, and a third one about to come out. So, I know I'm preaching to the choir here. And there may be others of you I don't know, but that's what our process was like. I want to talk a little bit about the importance of having a mentor. And I'm going to throw this out to any of my panel members here, because for me, I'm a kind of person that I tend to, I'm an out there person, but I do things by myself. And what I found from this experience is how important it is to work in community and have other people help you and support you. Anybody want to speak on that? Margot.
I would have to say in this writing group, everybody has been a mentor for me in some aspect or another. In terms of the support that we've gotten, I met Stacy at a workshop that she did. Actually, no, I met her before that. She came to my house for a book. I was having a book club meeting and we read her book, the first one. And I was impressed by her, and I liked how kind she was and easy to talk to. And so when she told me she was having a writing workshop, I went to it. And I just felt like you, Belinda, I did everything on my own. I didn't want to share. I was nervous. I had a lot of fears. I don't want people seeing what. She just helped me in terms of, dissipate that fear. And when she said she was going to start this focused writing group, I went, I'm in, because I was then looking for a group of people that I could feel supported by in a community. And that's been really important in terms of where I am in terms of my writing. When I look back 7 years ago, Danica, I keep thinking back, it's been 7 years, that how many things I've gone through in terms of getting over my fears of, can I write? Do I have a story? And she supported me through all of that. And so did the group, which I think was really important in getting this piece done. So yeah, definitely mentor.
I totally agree. The mentorship is so important. And as you can probably hear and feel, that we have developed a sisterhood over the course of that period of time as well. I would say without the mentorship of Stacy and having the writers group, being a part of a writers community, I would not have completed my first book. Stacy was the first I knew I wanted to write a book. I knew what the title would be. I did not want to put all my business out there. And she was the one who said, you can write it as fictional. And that inspired me to complete it. But also now my family, particularly my brother's like, now hold up, which one of these characters are you? And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you because I'm the author. That's the artistic piece of it. But to know that even my brother was, more intrigued because of the way it was written, that wow, this could have really happened to somebody, even my sister. So the mentorship and the sisterhood is impeccable and indescribable, honestly.
That's great, Jackie.
I think mentorship has been very important for me also. And I met Stacy after I had written my first novel, but some of the things that she says just keeps you motivated. For example, just think of your book as your baby and that you want to keep that baby alive, I thought, what a great way to think of the book. And so that has kept me doing different things to keep that book alive as I write the second book. So, and of course, the sisterhood is wonderful, wonderful too. You just never know when somebody is going to say something that's going to give you some wisdom that you need. So that's very important to me.
So let's talk a little bit about maybe your particular article and your writing style. And I'm actually going to start with you, Jackie, because I know that you're very disciplined. You're one of my more disciplined friends. And so tell us how you find the time to write. And I'm always interested in whether people write in longhand or if they type a manuscript. So.
Okay. Well, I think I am very disciplined, and I guess it's because I have this great desire to get it done, and I know that you have to put the time in. I have been telling friends who say they want to write a book and have been saying it for 10 years and nothing has happened. So you have to make a commitment to it. And sometimes it's good to make the commitment in public so that people will hold your feet to the fire. That might be important. But what I tend to do is I write almost every day at the same time. I like to go to the gym, and then I come home, I like to meditate, and around 1:30, I want to write. And sometimes I will write, the plan is to write an hour, at least an hour. But if you get involved in it, sometimes you lose track of time. So that's important too. And that's how you can get things accomplished. But it's also important to set a goal. I know initially when I started writing, I set a goal of, I wanted to do a 60,000 word piece. And so I decided how many words would I have to write each day in order to get it completed in 6 months. So around 333 words per day was the minimum to get it done in 6 months. So I'm giving myself a time, a set goal, and saying this is how much time I'm going to do it, and this is how many words I'm going to do per day. And I guess it sounds pretty much like a military regiment, but it works for me. And I did teach science, and so that's kind of the way I think. It works for me like that. But so having a certain amount of time, having a specific goal, and also having a deadline. That's, I think, are some very important things to do when you are writing and wanting to make sure that you get the book completed.
Thank you so much. We have about 5 minutes. So if somebody else wants to chime in on this, I want to give a little bit of time for questions if anybody has one. But anybody else want to speak on? I'm going to call on Margot for a minute, because I know that Margot's topic was about her sister and the experience she went through with her sister having the experience of cancer. And so that probably times in our lives when we don't have the time to write. We call ourselves writers, but we don't. We just have other things going on, and that's okay. So Margot, can you maybe speak to that?
Yeah, the essay I wrote was really about my sister's journey with breast cancer, and really her journey was over 15 years. And so I called it the mountains and valley periods. And when she was when she was on top and everything was cool, that was an easier time for me to schedule in when I was going to write. But I was also working full time. And I would have to say, you read about other authors and they're like, I get up at 4 a.m. and I write, and I write in my closet and that kind of thing every day. And I'm thinking, I tried that. It didn't work. I was exhausted when I got home from school. And Stacy's the one who said, Margot, just write when you can. And so I realized that on Sunday mornings, when it was quiet, I could write for 3 hours. And if I did that, I would get something out of it. So that's what I did. Now that I'm retired, I pretty much have a similar routine to Jackie's. which is I get up, I'm a journal. I love to write in my journal. So I'm a 3-page journal person. And then I meditate, walk, and then I start writing. And I do most of my writing in the morning or editing or whatever. I work on my writing for a certain amount of time. And I try to be, religious about that piece. My writing in the afternoon or evening, I tried that too. That doesn't work. I don't have the energy or I'm not able to focus as well. So I think it's just finding your time and then carving it out. And then the hard part for me was making the boundaries. Of course, when my sister was going through the last part of her journey and with cancer, I would write about that in my journal. I still journaled every morning. That helped me get through what I needed to do to support her. So from those journal pieces, my thoughts and whatever, that's how I was able to write. That's what I referred to when I wrote the essay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That was very powerful. Well, I want to give the last word to my friend Rita. Any parting thoughts before we open the floor to any questions?
I don't really have any anything to add. I'm kind of amazed by what I'm hearing. This sisterhood that I know we have, because I love you all. But and Jackie's become my travel partner. She's been to Dubai with me. It's just the things that have come out of writing a book. I'm just surprising myself. All the things that have happened in my life since agreeing to be a part of this anthology. And I don't know. I don't have a comment, except that if you haven't considered doing something like this, doing an anthology, I highly recommend it. Just make sure it's the right group of women.
And I'm going to end by saying, and they're about to go to Egypt, y'all.
Yes, we're going to Egypt. You ready, Jackie?
But anyway, I just thank you for your time. If anybody has questions, but it's for us, the group was women who were writers, but there are all other kinds of groups. And I think the important thing is showing that support of other women, lifting them up as they lift you up, regardless of the group that you have. Yeah.
Belinda, I'm going to wrap up the live and then we can stay a little bit. If anybody wants to stay a little over, we can take some questions. But first, I'm going to ask everybody else to unmute yourself so we can applaud these lovely ladies and let them hear, and applaud yourselves as well. And I want to thank anyone who is watching this live or watching the replay. If you'd like to join us for one of our 11 free Zoom gatherings a month, or an in-person in Richmond, Virginia, Charlottesville, Virginia, or our new meeting starting in Tallahassee, Florida in January, comment below and I'll tell you how to do that. Or you can go to my website, opwgc.com, and find out all about it.